What's up, guys? Another build to show off, and actually this build is slightly different than the pictures I put up earlier on my page. So I came over to do the video on it, and I noticed that the seconds hand was pausing intermittently, so I completely swapped the movement out. When I swapped the movement out, I went with a gilded 2435, which has a taller minute hand pinion, which puts the second hand pinion further down in, which means I couldn't use the second hand I was using because the shaft on it, it's about that tall. I needed one that's about that tall to actually reach down in there. So second hand is different. Other than that, it's the same movement as before, but just a gilded version, one of the 2435s. I was able to buy 35 of them. It is one of those movements that once I don't have those anymore, I will not have those movements anymore. So as long as you're okay with a lollipop style instead of that little square, same build. So this is a titanium dial that we lasered through on there. So it's got a really it's kind of like a blue steel brushed look to it. So it was brush sanded, and then it was slightly baked to give it that color. So once it's locked in there, like if I would sand it thereafter, it would take off that bluing. So that's the style of the dial. The bezel insert on this is one of those cool custom inserts from my buddy in the Ukraine. He had made me a bunch of dials and he made me a bunch of inserts. The problem was he didn't realize I wanted the inserts to match the dials. So then he made me inserts that matched the dials that I had on hand, and I had some inserts left over. So we tried to make some dials here locally that would work well with these bezel inserts. So these bezel inserts were quite expensive. This is a Kraken diver style insert. Lots of cool colors to it, but it is layered titanium. So you've got lots of cool color in there. It's on a brushed case, shark tooth bezel on this, a polished shark tooth bezel, anchor engraved crown, one of my super soft suede straps, brushed clasp. You saw that 2435 gilded movement. Got a bead blasted brass rotor in there, and then a stainless steel movement holder in there. And that is the build. Also, those hands in there, those are a sword troika style from my buddy Joudrey. And then that seconds hand is a Moldova seconds hand. And yeah, so that's covering everything. Bezel on this will turn left. It will turn right. These shark tooths, so I can get these freaking things on tight. So if you like tight bezel, these shark tooths I can get on super tight. So if you want to move it, you can, but it's not going to move by itself pretty much ever. Non-clickable style bezel. Automatic mechanical, you can wind it, you can wear it, you can put it in a watch winder, but if it's dead or you're not going to be very active, make sure you wind it a little bit. And how you do that is you back the crown off the threads so you hear it and feel it clicking. At that point you can wind, and a wind is a turn that way. Turning it towards you doesn't do anything, but it's a lot easier to keep your finger spacing and just go back and forth. If you do this for 4 or 5 seconds before you put it on, that mixed with your rotor movement should help you keep time throughout the day. And if you do it for something closer to 20 seconds, you're going to max out that 31 plus hour power reserve on it. You cannot overwind it, so don't worry about that. When you're happy with your winding, pull it to the one end only click. You can now set your time. It does not have a hacking movement, so it's going to keep going. You cannot, also, you'll notice you got a wobble crown on there that deflects lateral pressure from going into the stem and into the movement. So when you're pushing and prying on it, you are not putting any adverse pressure on that stem. Okay, Google, what time is it?
It's 6:12 p.m.
It was close there. 6:12. Push this back over, get it out of that time setting, and wind it down. Apparently, Google was done playing music. Okay, Google, play Canon's radio on Pandora.
Got it. Here's
That.
a Pandora station called Cannon's Radio.
Okay. That is the build. As with every build, it's going to come with matching beads. It's entirely up to you whether you wear those or not. There's a lot of color going on with that bezel insert, so we tried to capture it as well as we could with some of these color shifts. This will come in a silver Kraken box. This is going to come with watch cleaner. This is good on all glass and metal parts, so everything here in the center. Non-toxic, non-streaky, non-residue. Will also come with some leather conditioner to keep this leather strap perfectly soft. Apply it on the front and back, let it soak in, remove any excess. That's only if you feel this strap is not as soft as it used to be or it's getting harder to manipulate. Then lastly, you're going to get some fine scratch remover. This is Novus 2 from Amazon. We just repackaged. It's for your acrylic glass because you can scratch it. But if you do, no worries. Put a tiny bit of this on it and buff against the scratch, not with it, using your included microfiber. Buff it for about 20 seconds. You should have it completely knocked out. If it's deeper, keep layering it. Let it dry. Keep layering it up. If it's super bad, which I've only had one or two, just send it back to me and I'll replace your glass for you. So that's the build. If it's going out to you, thank you so much for your support. If you want me to build you something custom and unique, reach out. And if you want to continue to see videos like this, like and subscribe as I put them up all the time. Thanks, guys.